is Jeopardy! Please welcome our contestants. Player 1. Player 2. Player 3. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Brevet.
Thank you, Johnny Gilbert, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Let's take you right now into the Jeopardy round. Clues are worth $200 to $1,000 in these categories: Pulp Fiction, Signs and Symbols, The Animal Kingdom, I Only Have Eyes for You, When Did It Happen, and Celebrity AKA. Where do we begin, Player 1? The star on Nevada's flag is this metallic color because it represents Nevada's state mineral. Let's hear it, Player 3. Good. A lot of clues, a lot of categories, Player 3. Make a heterohelix is the English variety of this climbing plant. It's Player 3. Yes. Player 3, back to you for our next selection. Let's get Kelly's assistance on this clue.
In monozygotic, or this type of twins, the genetic makeup of each twin is exactly the same.
It's Player 1.
Yeah.
Right. Player 1, where do we start? It's the real last name of Nicolas Cage and of his famous uncle. Player 2. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? It's Player 1. Sorry. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Okay, Player 3. That's correct. Player 3, you start us off. Destiny Hope Cyrus, Billy Ray's kid and star of TV's Hannah Montana, now goes by this first name. It's Player 1.
Yeah.
That's correct. All right, let's get back into this. When She's Got Mail, we wonder if it's addressed to Margaret Hyra. Here's the response we were looking for. Meg Ryan. Select again. Answer. It's the Daily Double. You are currently in second place. You need to select your wager. And the clue. Yes, sir. His real name is Reginald Dwight. Yep. Please pick again, Player 1. The movie's original Alfie. He was originally named Maurice Micklewhite. It's Player 3. Nope. Sorry. Anyone else? Here's what we wanted. Michael Caine. You again, Player 1. A sheaf of this grain symbolizes what else? Agriculture on Ohio's state seal. The correct response is wheat. Player 1, pick again. Let's go to the Clue Crew for this next clue.
In the 21st century, International Morse Code added its first new character in decades. It combines A and C to symbolize this sign.
Let's hear it, Player 1. Nope. Sorry. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Here's what we were looking for. The @ sign. Select again. Not the Easter, but the prairie type of this flower is the floral emblem of Saskatchewan. It's Player 3. Ooh, sorry. That's incorrect. Any other takers? Yes, Player 1? Right. Hey, you're on the plus side. Please pick again, Player 1. From the Latin for triple leaf, it's the name of the official Girl Scout emblem. Here's the response we were looking for. The trefoil. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. Roger that, Houston. The rocket engines have reached this point of firing to life. Okay, Player 2. Nope. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Player 3? Sorry, that's wrong. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? It's Player 1. You got it. Player 1, back to you. It's a list of places to be visited on a journey. Here's the correct response. An itinerary. Player 1. The male of this wild goat of the Alps has backward curving horns that may be as long as it is tall. Here's the correct response. The ibex. You again, Player 1. These animals of the order Chiroptera are the only mammals that can truly fly. Yes, Player 1? Hey, you're right. Player 1, you pick. This feisty tie fish blows sticky bubbles to make a nest, then puts the eggs in its mouth and blows them in the nest. We're talking about fighting fish. You get to pick again, Player 1. Muskrats and wood rats belong to this order of mammals. It's Player 1. You got it. You again, Player 1. Let's get Kelly's assistance on this clue.
If you see one of these under the sea, look, but don't touch. The spines can be poisonous.
Here's the response we were looking for. The sea urchin. You get to pick again, Player 1. Fruit and lizards, yum, are favorite foods of the coati, also known by this longer name. The correct response is the Quadrimundi. Player 1, choose again. Let's take it over to Sarah.
JFK won the presidential nomination at the Democratic National Convention in this year.
Let's hear it, Player 3. That's it. Player 3, you start us off. Black Star was created by Johnston McCulley, most famous for this hero, the best he ever created. It's Player 1. Correct. All right, let's get back into this. Player 1. The U.S. declared war against Spain on April 25th of this year. We're talking about 1898. Please pick again, Player 1. Bastille Day in France commemorates an event on this date in 1789. Player 1? Player 1, back to you. The Sons of Liberty threw one heck of a tea party in Boston on December 16th of this year. Let's hear it, Player 3. Yes. Player 3, start us. King John affixed his seal to the Magna Carta at Runnymede in June of this year. Here's what we were looking for, 12:15. We return to you, Player 3. All Story Magazine's October 1912 issue featured this hero in A Romance of the Jungle. We're talking about Tarzan. Player 3, back to you. First serialized in Black Mask, the Maltese Falcon introduced the world to this detective. Player 1? Is correct. Player 1, where do we start? Friedrich Schiller Faust wasn't a big name in this genre, but his pen name of Max Brand was. Here's the correct response. Westerns. Let's have a look at the $1,000 clue. Under the name Maxwell Grant, Walter P. Gibson wrote about this pulp hero who knew where evil lurked. Here's the correct response. The Shadow. Player 2 is going first in Double Jeopardy when we come back following this. Let's see what happens in Double Jeopardy with these categories awaiting the players. Adjectives. Nigeria. World history. Opera names. The British invasion. And constellations? Player 2, you start. This adjective precedes grace in the name of a hymn. It's Player 1. Yes. Player 1, you start. From the Latin for falling down, it's used to describe a tree that sheds its leaves annually. Yes, Player 1? Yes. From the Latin for flowing, it means able to speak or write smoothly as a foreign language. It's player 1. Yep. Player 1, back to you. This adjective that means weirdly frightening comes from the Old English for cowardly. It's player 1. Good. Player 1, back to you for this 10-letter adjective meaning extraordinarily great in size comes from the Latin for to shake. Here's the correct response. Tremendous. Player 1, pick again. In the late 16th century, this Flemish cartographer projected the constellations onto star globes. Yes, player 2. That's correct. Player 2, make a selection, please, as we continue. Ptolemy listed a constellation named for this, Jason's ship. It's been replaced by Carina, Puppis, Pyxis, and Vela. Okay, player 3. Is correct. You've got some money again. Player 3, you're in command of the board as we continue right now. The bright star Betelgeuse marks one of the shoulders of this constellation. Player 3. Good. Player 3, back to you. Let's get Kelly's assistance on this clue.
This constellation stretches from the claws to the stinger.
It's player 2. Good for you. Hey, you're on the plus side. Player 2, you start. As part of its 19th century territorial expansions, this nation colonized the Nigerian port of Lagos in 1861. Okay, player 1. Correct. Player 1, you're in command of the board as we continue right now. In the 1680s, Johannes Hevelius added 7 new constellations, including Vulpecula, the little this. It's player 1. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Player 3? That's correct. Okay, let's get back into this. Player 3, you make the next selection. As known for his satire, Wole Soyinka became the first black African winner of this prize for literature in 1986. We're talking about the Nobel Prize. You get to pick again, player 3. About a third of Nigeria's states in the heavily Muslim north follow this Islamic law system. Player 2. Yes. All right, let's get back into this. Player 2 has control. Following ethnic clashes in 1966, the eastern part of Nigeria declared itself the Republic of this in 1967. Here's the correct response. Biafra. Player 2, you pick again, please. Nigeria's first planned city. It was built in the 1980s and officially dedicated as the nation's new capital in 1991. Here's what we wanted. Abuja. We return to you, Player 2. In 1071, the Seljuk Turks, who practiced this religion, defeated the Byzantine army at the Battle of Manzikert. Player 2. Right. Player 2, back to you for our next selection. An economic crisis forced this Indonesian leader to resign on May 21, 1998, ending 32 years of autocratic rule. Here's what we wanted. Suharto. Player 2, back to you for our next selection. Here's Jimmy.
A 1980 strike at this Gdansk shipyard led to the formation of this labor union. Within months, it represented 10 million Polish workers.
Yes, Player 3? You got it. Player 3, you start. This king of Aragon freed the Catalan serfs in 1486 and captured Granada in 1492. It's Player 2. Yes. Okay, let's get back into this. Player 2, you make the next selection as we go. Around 2500 BC, the Harappan civilization sprung up around this river in Pakistan and northwestern India. Okay, Player 2. No, that's not right. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Here's the correct response. The Indus. Player 2, you pick again, please. The title figure of this Puccini opera is Cho-Cho-san. It's Player 1. Good. Player 1, where do we start? This title temptress of an 1875 opera works in a cigarette factory. Okay, Player 2.
Aww.
Sorry, that's wrong. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? We're talking about Carmen. You again, Player 1. Amneris, daughter of Pharaoh, has an Ethiopian slave girl. Her. Here's the response we were looking for. Aida. We return to you, Player 1. Answer. The first of the daily doubles. You are in first place, Player 1. Please select your wager. And the daily double clue. Gilda, the daughter of this hunchback, falls in love with the licentious Duke of Mantua, with dire consequences. However, you keep your lead. Here's the correct response. Rigoletto. We return to you, Player 1. Tannhäuser and Lohengrin are knights. This title character of another Wagner opera is a pure fool. Here's what we wanted. Parsifal. You again, player one. The first track on the Beatles' second album was a Chuck Berry song that told this composer to roll over. It's player one. Yeah! Hey, you're right. Please pick again, player one. Sarah?
Brian Jones played the humble kazoo on this band's 1967 Between the Buttons album, though not on the hit Ruby Tuesday.
Here's what we wanted. The Rolling Stones. Select again. The Searchers told us that Madame Ruth had a pad down on 34th and Vine where she sold this. Yes, player three? Right. Player three, you start. This man's pacemakers included Leslie McGuire, John Chadwick, and Freddie Marsden. The correct response is Jerry Marsden. And the last clue for $2,000.
Yeah!
Answer. The other Daily Double. You're in second right now. What'll it be? The clue. Reg Presley not only sang lead on this Trogs hit, he played the ocarina as well. You are now in first place. You all move on to Final Jeopardy, which will continue after these messages. Here's the Final Jeopardy category. The Social Sciences. You need to select your wager. Here you are, players, the Final Jeopardy clue. Coined in 1899, this word suggests that things like rivers and boundaries affect nations' foreign affairs. Let's see your response. And that will set you back. What did you say? And that will cost you. What did you say? Sorry, that incorrect response will drop your score by... We're talking about geopolitics. Congratulations, player three. You're the winner. So long, everybody.